What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with DFS, bringing you a brand new video. Today's video going over week 2 wide receivers to target on DraftKings main slate. So there are some good options here. I'm not going to lie. I do favor running backs this week. I think there's a lot of good matchups in running back, but now there's a lot of opportunities in some good matchups for wide receivers. So starting off, CeeDee Lamb is the most expensive on the slate at 8,800. I do think in tournaments it's worth getting CeeDee Lamb. I think after last week's performance, Dallas kind of took care of Cleveland one way or another, right? I don't think anyone really had a crazy fantasy week for Dallas, but they scored a lot of points. Against New Orleans, who just shut down Carolina, you're facing a defense that ran man coverage quite a bit. The one thing that CeeDee Lamb absolutely destroys his man coverage, so I definitely think in tournaments it's worth playing. I don't think you need to get there in cash. Amon-Ra at 8,100 I think is a cash play in my opinion, going against Tampa Bay, who Tampa Bay was not tested in the air. Also, Winfield I think is supposed to be out this week. I'm not 100% sure on that yet, but I do believe he's supposed to be out. That's a huge blow for Tampa Bay. Obviously, Jameson Williams had that really good game last week that we've all been waiting for. Amon-Ra, kind of left out just because how good Detroit was running the ball. Jameson having his good game. So in this matchup, it's a high total. We like high totals in DFS. It makes for games to target. And Amon-Ra in this game with the corners he's going to be seeing in the slot, safety out. I really like Amon-Ra in this matchup. I think it's a good stacking piece with Jared Goff. Next, Cooper Kupp, I think, is everyone's cash play. We saw Cooper Kupp last week. Like, if you remember what made Cooper Kupp, it was Matt Stafford going there and just throwing him the ball. Puka was out pretty early. The run game wasn't all that good. Cooper Kupp was good, right? This is a Cooper Kupp masterclass. The two rushing attempts was crazy, but yeah, 14 receptions, 21 targets in this one. It's a division game. You're facing an Arizona defense who got absolutely destroyed in that second half. Obviously, Arizona's offense didn't play too well, but their defense had no answers for the Bills. Now, obviously, you lose Puka Nacua, which is a huge loss, but you've seen guys step up in the past, and Denard Robinson is one. Johnson stepped up last week, so those guys are also two to target. We'll talk about that here shortly. But Cooper Kupp at 7,600, the price is, if this is the most expensive wide receiver you're paying for, that's fine, right? That's definitely fine. 7,600 for a wide receiver who's going to get, easy 10 plus targets, more than that, but we're going to say 10 plus. In a facing a defense that cannot play coverage. They're just not good yet. Cooper Kupp is definitely a safe play. I think Mike Evans is playable again this week. Obviously, last week the 2 touchdowns, only 5 receptions for 61 yards though. Chris Godwin had a really good game in the air. Rashard White used in the passing game quite a bit. I think Mike Evans is playable. I just at this time would rather go Godwin for his price point. I still think Mike Evans, probably outscores him, but for the price, I'd rather go Godwin. Garrett Wilson against Tennessee. If I'm a huge Pat McAfee fan, I like watching the shows when I can. And Aaron Rodgers is on there, and he's already talking that they need to get Garrett Wilson more targets. We saw how early he was targeting in the game. They kind of fell behind. But 11 targets from Garrett Wilson, 6 for 60. I don't think anyone was on the Jets side was really satisfied with the work he was getting, kind of throws he was getting when he was getting them. So in this matchup against Tennessee, who held the Bears pretty good, but you also have to remember in that game, Caleb Williams missed some really good throws that would have boosted his stat line against Tennessee. I think the Jets are definitely going to improve throughout the season, and Garrett Wilson with that. So like Garrett Wilson, Deebo Samuel, if CMC is officially out, which we're all assuming he is, you saw Deebo get 8 carries last week for 23 yards. That was good against a good Jets defense. This is against a Brian Flores defense who brings they're a coordinator who brings the best out of their side of the ball, and that's what he does. But Deebo, I would expect to get a lot of volume in this matchup. I still think Minnesota has some really good pieces defensively, but as a whole, there's definitely they're definitely not an elite team. Rashee Rice, 6,700 going against Cincy. Had a really good week last week against a very good defense in Baltimore. They face a defense that just got busted in the run. Now you're facing a team that can run the ball pretty efficiently and pass. So Rashee Rice at 6,700 is definitely playable. Michael Pittman, I like, but I don't love it. 6,600 against Green Bay. They kind of got busted by the Eagles. I don't know if Pittman does that against Green Bay, but it's definitely worth noting there. Keep going down. Chris Godwin here at 6K. This is kind of the guy that I'm looking at that mid-range, 6K. 22 fantasy points, right? He didn't get a touchdown, but 8 for 83, or did get a touchdown, sorry. 8 for 83 with the touchdown. It was Evans that got that last one. But for the price difference, 6,000 compared to Evans is 7,500. Chris Godwin being in the slot is better for him, so I like Chris Godwin in this one. Malik Neighbors does not move in price. 5,900 last week, 5,900 this week. Going against a Washington that got absolutely dimed up by Baker Mayfield last week. Now, I did mention when I did the quarterback video, I mentioned Daniel Jones. I mentioned him. It was short, but I did. If you're playing Malik Neighbors, I would definitely consider having a Daniel Jones stack. It sounds terrible to say out loud, but I said it. I had to say it. What? Washington's defense got diced up. Malik Neighbors is definitely one to consider. We keep going. Terry McLaurin. I won't say it's Terry McLaurin's fault, right? I like Terry McLaurin. I had him in my lineup. I got essentially burnt by Terry McLaurin. 4 targets. 4, right? I'm really quick. This is where Washington did all the receiving work, right? Brian Robinson, 3 for 49. Austin Eckler, 4 for 52. Guess what? They had, I believe, more receptions than anybody on Washington, their receivers and tight ends. So it wasn't Terry McLaurin having a bad game. It was they just did not throw the ball to Terry McLaurin. They didn't throw the ball to wide receivers, hoping they do this week against a very bad secondary in New York. Whether they do or not is beyond me, but I really hope they do. Jameson Williams, 5,300, 100% worth mentioning after the week he just had. I mentioned Winfield possibly being out for a while, like Amon-Ra. The Tampa defense missing pieces top to bottom. So, and that's just not injury related. That's more of last year's roster to this year. But value, Josh Palmer against Carolina is worth noting. I think McConkey versus Carolina is definitely worth noting. I think he had a pretty good game there as well. Other than that, we look at some other names. Alec Pierce had a really good week last week. I would have to watch the Josh Downs injury news to really see that. But Wan'Dale Robinson, 12 targets last week for Wan'Dale. 6 for 44 at his price point of 4,100. That definitely paid off if you did play him. But now we go. I'm just going to make this easier on us. We go to the Rams. You get Demarcus Robinson at 4K. Tyler Johnson at 3,300. If you're willing to take that risk again that he gets on the field, I would assume he gets on the field for the performance he just did. I would assume he gets on the field at 3,300. That name is definitely worth noting. If T. Higgins is out again, Andre is a play. I don't know if I want to go there again. But at 3,800, we go to the Jets. Allen Lazard played before the slate came out. He was priced at 300 or 3K, went up 300. So he's 3,300 against the Tennessee team, which I mentioned probably should have had more passing yards allowed if Caleb Williams hit some of his good throws, right? Or made the good throws, however you want to take it as. So that is pretty much it for my wide receiver pool. Obviously, I think there's some other names that could be more tournament, but as far as like cash for the most part, or game stacking, that's kind of where I want to go at. Right, you want to go, you want to get Chargers offense against Carolina. You want to get the Tampa Bay Detroit game, high total game. You want to get some exposure in that. You want to get New York Washington, in my opinion. I don't think it's a great amazing game. Two bad defenses, two bad offenses. It's just ugly, but stuff can come out of it. The Rams Cardinals game, right? Marvin Harrison goes down in price. Greg Dortch is worth mentioning at 4,600. And then I mentioned the Rams already. You get Kansas City and Cincinnati. If Cincinnati can do what they've done in previous years against Kansas City and at least compete. So those games are worth mentioning of trying to acquire somebody, not just a wide receiver, running back, quarterback, tight end, defense, whatever. Not really defense, but the flex positions and quarterbacks, that's pretty much who you want to go to. So I will have the tight end video going out tomorrow. So if you guys are looking forward to that, that will be out tomorrow. If you guys are looking for the quarterback or running back, those videos are already out. You can go back and watch those. If you're looking for the showdown video, that's for tonight, Thursday. That video was also posted yesterday, so you guys could check that out. Still waiting on the HN news for that before we start hammering some Miami props. So hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. If you guys are interested in joining us, the link for our Discord is in the description down below. And I will see you guys in the next one.